This is like a, you know, reviewing the Lib Tech Doughboy 195 in my little mountain in Montana. The fucking thing doesn't fit in my sport box, and it doesn't fit in my station wagon, so I can't throw it in. So I'd drive the van, and I get the van, I gotta fucking pull it out of the van so I can put my boots on the way I do things. And it starts conversations. It's like, so I wasn't able to get first thoughts on this stupid thing, just so I can get an idea of that thing. Look at that fucking thing. Are you kidding me? Kind of heavy. It's heavy. It feels like I had a skunk 69 glass board that was heavy, but it was C3. Yeah, so I can't get out of that conversation because it is what it is. And then I get up to the ticket guy, it's like, oh shit. And then I'm 5 minutes with that guy, and then I get to the lift line and say, oh, like, fuck, man, I'm just here to ride snowboards. I want to ride the snowboard. I don't want to, you know, like, you feel obligated to fucking engage. It's fine, I guess, but I still want to ride the goddamn thing. And I haven't ridden it yet. I can't say it's red or whatever. But man, look at that thing. All right, so my very, very, very first reaction of maybe 300 feet vertical from one lift to another, I am shockingly surprised at the value of the snowboard. Like, value is a hard thing to try to put in it, but if you're wondering if it drives or feels like a Cadillac, it does. That's exactly what it feels like. If you're a suspension guy, if you're a car guy, motorcycle guy, understands suspension. There's something about the reason old big American cars rode so smooth is that the body of the car had so much mass. Yeah, they were suspended with relatively soft springs or whatever, but the wheel, like if you were to hit a chuck hole or hit an undulation, the weight of the wheel by comparison to the mass of the overall vehicle, it just can't, regardless of how the suspension's working, you can't not just absorb it. Anyway, this thing, talking about like, you know, I got a little bit of a sidewall to roll on, you know, to do some front, like, slashers and shit on, and little jumpy jumps. And I can say that I'm not immediately fully comfortable on it, but like throwing it up onto a berm and throwing a turn, do a little slasher on it, it slashes. It doesn't, you don't feel like you're locked in, and it has everything to do with the torsional flex. Wanted to talk about that too. I can feel it. That's, in fact, the thing that I've recognized right out of the gate is that the last Doughboy I rode was like back in the day, and it was cap. And one of the things about cap boards back in the day was that they were torsionally really fucking stiff, and it made them really rad hard snowboards and trick boards and stuff, because it gave you a really stiff edge to fucking spin shit off of. But when you're looking at a huge board like a Doughboy, and that much edge you want it to be torsionally softer, so the very tip and the very tail aren't always augering in. Like, if the board is real stiff torsionally, then the tip and tail are always augering. This is nice and loose on the end, so it doesn't auger. And so it's one of the things I like about the Bird so much, is the way it enters transition and enters turns. It's so mellow and soft because it's torsionally soft, and this board has got that. And I'm not used to the tail yet. Well, more to talk about this later. All right, running the Doughboy. Just gonna put it through a groomer, just to give you an idea what it's kind of doing. A little visual might help, maybe. Pulling up on a bunch of people that might be in trouble.
Love it.
So just put my first real proper run on this thing, and I was gonna do a groomer top to bottom, but I put a part of a groomer over there and I kind of understood what it was gonna do. Anyway, so I just put it through some of my regularly programmed stuff, and this thing is, those are nice turns, man. This thing, it's a couple of things, right? So recognize that I'm coming from, my daily driver is a BRD 167 wide, which is a really wide board, really wide under my front foot because I moved my binding so far forward. And so this is like a traditional width board, and I love narrow boards, man. I fucking love them. And so and the other thing about the bird is it's really heavily tapered, and so the tail of it is super flicky. That's part of the reason I like it, is that the tail is so loose and it's flickable. This tail, that thing is it's a freight train, man. Like, you on these groomers over here, you got, you know, and this is because I'm thinking about Sorensen and thinking about his speed secrets, why he's so fast. You have a really long tail like that, your ability to, and when you're exiting a turn, to roll back in your stance and load your back foot and load the tail of the board to build acceleration, that is a lot of available real estate to be slowly or even quickly building energy out of the tail of the board. Whereas a bird, because of the taper, it's a lot of work to get there and really build a lot of speed out of the tail, because it's always trying to be loose. This thing with magnet traction, and again that torsional, makes this board is nothing, well, I mean, other than length. It's the same length as the old school Doughboy, the cat board. They're totally different riding boards. They ride, they're night and day. This thing is a fucking blast. I kind of have it in the same zone as like the Retro Ripper, and I don't know what this board's best day is yet. It's really rad, just rolling around and trenching in it, like berms and fucking tranny stuff, pretty good. And you know, if you know how to ride a snowboard and you keep it loose, you can keep it loose. I understand how you keep it loose, but I also understand how much area there is to build fucking energy out of the tail of that fucking thing. It's pretty rad. I don't know if I'm gonna put it, I gotta put a couple runs on it before I put it in any trees. Like, it's still, it's quick, it turns when you want it to, and does all that. The tail, like, I oftentimes nip the tail of trees with the tail of my bird that's got a little, I'm thinking I'm clipping trees with this tail a lot. That might hurt, and I want to do that. I'm not saying it's not fun, it is. I mean, it is. It's just, there's something about, I find myself riding my back leg a lot. I don't really know why that is. In deep snow, got plenty of shovel, but I'm just all over the tail. I don't know what's going on down here. I'm gonna try to put it through some trees here. I'm gonna call it on this thing, but you know how much fucking tail that is. It's kind of nuts. See what happens. But it rides well. It does not ride well. It does. It really does. Doughboy. So I just put it away for the day. I spent half a day on it. We have the snow conditions makes a difference, and what we have right now is we've had a lot of snow in the last week, like a lot of snow. So there's no base in it. It's really good. It's good flowy. But today warmed up. Like it warmed up pretty substantially, and so it just got a little bit sticky and it's a little bit packy, right? And when snow is kind of packy like that, a lot of West Coast snow, but I mean we don't get that kind of. But to smooth that stuff out, it takes a little deeper knee bend and a little more finesse and a little more, you know, a little more juice to really flow out kind of packy snow, you know? And that's what we kind of got today. But that fucking Doughboy, like it slashes, like you don't, that thing doesn't, it slashes great. And the reason it slashes great is because it's torsionally. The flex, the overall tip to tail flex and the torsion flex is fucking perfect on that thing. Like it's really good. The other thing I'm gonna say is like I think I might have strained my back leg calf muscle because the gas pedal, and we got this kind of packy snow, but all that tail, man, you just got a gas pedal out of your toe side edge for days, and all that edge contact, you just get a shit ton of hold. And I think a better day on that would be with a stiffer boot. It's just a lot of board for kind of mid-soft boots, you know. And that's a lot of edge contact, and that's a lot of board, and it will fucking charge. It'll go fast. Like it doesn't feel shit. It's cool board, man. You don't ever find yourself shortening up a turn, like you kind of just steamroll everything, freight train it, you know, set your edge early, make that whole turn, just let the board ride what it wants to ride. Because the finesse of riding one of these things is like, you know, I always refer to the ride is the marry of you and your equipment. So like, and there's a give and take, and there's a balance in the ride of what your equipment is doing and what you want the equipment to do and whatever. If you want to fucking roll some big old groomers and freight train big old turns and just set into those things and just let the board ride its rail, that's great. But anytime you want to change up that turn, it's a lot of real estate. It's a lot to, you gotta, you know, try to bend it more or flex it out, or you know, give it a slash mid carve. It's just a lot of, but if you're cool with like just it's kind of like, okay, I use this when I was talking about the retro ripper, I said the same shit, and that is the retro ripper will slide. This thing does feel like you're on skateboard wheels. Like it's happy to, like, big soft low durometer wheels, you slide them. This is what it feels like when you try to slide this board. It's just it's better, it's happier, like skateboard, like soft skateboard wheels. It's happier just to be in its groove. Just let it ride its ride, and it makes these big, you know, big 10 to 15 foot radius turns, 20 foot radius turns, just railing in those big old turns. It's fun, it's cool, and it definitely has a fun factor, you know. Like I like riding it, it's fun to ride, and I know why some dudes like really gravitate to it, man. Like it's a big old Cadillac, and it smooths everything out and carves good line, and it doesn't, Here's an unusual kind of way of looking at it. And I don't think that Mervin has a stat on its surface area. Like when they were selling like the birds, some boards, they have a stat that's like how much surface area it has, and it kind of equates to how much buoyancy you can expect out of the thing. I don't think this has that stat. If it does, I'll put it somewhere that you can see it. But it's got a lot of surface area on the bottom, and between that lot of surface area and a lot of edge contact, I don't know how I could. It's how I'm 220 pounds, and it's how your weight is distributed over the flat surface of the board and also on the edge. So like when you are like burying a toe side or heel side carve line, when you're carving it, I'm distributing my 220 pounds over, you know, like whatever the edge contact was, fuck, who knows, 140, fuck, I don't know. But it's a lot of edge to be putting your weight onto, and what that does is that it doesn't penetrate the snow. Versus, as an example, like one of my favorite boards when the snow starts to get a little bit heavy, I like riding a Titty Fish Jamie Lynn 160 wide, right? Because it's got real low, it's maybe like 113 centimeters edge contact or whatever. It's like a short little board, it's kind of stiff, and I like that because when I want to push, when my 220 pounds wants to push that thing in the snow and get that edge to dig and get deep in the snow, it'll do it. This, with all of that edge contact, when you push it into the snow, it just doesn't dig in. It's just always, and that's the thing, it's like kind of, it's riding the surface of the snow almost all the time. Like I'm not gonna get a pow day on it. Like I got some pretty good snow on it the day one I mentioned. Snow's pretty good, but I'm not gonna get a pow day on it. I'll definitely get groomers on it. You're always right on the very top, which is cool. It's just a different mindset when you're riding through shit. Like you're riding through Chunder, for an example, and it just stays on top of everything. Like it just stays on top of everything all the time. And so even when you go to put in a braking turn or try to skid something out or whatever it is you're trying to do, you're always going to be way on top of the snow. Like ooh, that sounds, it got warm and then it crusted up. Groomer sound okay, and we're a little low on the mountain still, but it got warm down here. Anyway, so yeah, you're always on the surface. All that edge contact and all that surface area at the bottom of the board, you're always riding on top of everything, which I guess is kind of cool. Just a different technique. It's just a different mindset about how you're riding a snowboard. And I suspect that, you know, if you were to like, I didn't have to buy the stupid thing, so if you were to bury your money in that thing, you got 800 bucks in it or whatever the hell they call snoo, and you went out and you're like, I'm gonna fucking love this thing, and you ride it enough to love it, I think it would grow on you. And I think that there might be a trend towards longer boards just because of it. It's just got a different vibe about what it's all about. But one other quick little thing I want to say about, like, I'm fucking too old to really be jumping at all, but if you skated and you started snowboarding, when you're leaving a jump, you always kind of put a little lifter, little ollie, little tail flex off of a little jump, you know, like a little ollie. Like I do it all the time. It's what I do. That fucking Doughboy, man, it's so fucking long that when you have a pace and a trajectory and what it is when you're leaving a jump, you just have it in your head. When you go to put that little ollie in there, you know when you're flexing and you're leaving the jump. That fucking tail on that thing, like I went off this little jump and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a little ollie. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, it's fucking 2 feet of snowboard after your back foot, and it's a long distance to try to get where your normal little board flex ollie pop zone is. It's way out there, man. Almost endoed me. Anyway, something to think about. I'm gonna put it under this lift. Pretty good snow. Doing it to show you it, and then we'll look at the turns on the way up. It'll turn, man. It'll put a quick little bendy turn in there. It's a little bit of work though. Really get this thing to operate. Big fucking doughboy. But I mean, those are, I mean, you know, it does like it loads, like the board bends really well, you know, like when you're in a tight turn and you want to flatten it out for a second to get the board to load and flick you into the next turn. It does that way better. And again, I can't stress enough, like we have really great snow today, and I'm about to put this thing away and go get my daily driver and go get some of these trees, because I'm seeing all kinds of snow that's not been touched. But yeah, nice little right there. Yeah, man, it's cool. It's pretty cool fucking snowboard, man. I dig it. So it's the end of day 2 for me on that doughboy, and I just locked it up down there and put my daily driver on, and I'm riding lift up, and I'm recognizing, like, the doughboy is a calf burner. Like, it's not so much a thigh burner, like it'll burn your thighs a little bit, like a little more than a regular board, but my calves they're wearing out. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, they're flared up right now. It's a lot of toe edge contact, man. And do I think there's the ultimate question is do I think there's a place for one of those and your Quiver? Well, yeah, I do. I mean, I don't like I said, it's kind of like here you go, North Shore, the movie. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Landlocked kid, Hallie moves to the island because he won a local wave pool contest. Anyway, in that movie, he gets befriended. And it's the same thing as in Surf's Up. Gets befriended by the old surfer that's got all the correct philosophy about what it means to surf and et cetera, et cetera. And the dude, I think his name's Cody. It might be Cody in both of them. Anyway, dude makes him ride all these longboards. Like, makes him ride all these longboards. And this is the deal, and this is how I feel about this fucking this doughboy, is that it's got, I mean, in a way, it's like a traditional longboard in even the surf mentality. Like, I don't, you know, there's even longboards. It's just a big, long, turny, you know, plank that as a training tool has you centering your balance like a lot. And you're not centering your balance because you're worried about like flying off the tail end of a swallowtail or a short tail board or whatever. It just has you not wanting to work your legs that much, you know. Like, it's if you're centered in this thing and you're carving your rail and turns and you're centered, it's really no more work than any other board out there. It's just but it really wants you to be centered. I'm gonna throw this in there too, in terms of boards that really need you to be centered in the board, is the Quiver killers. I had one of those as a 59. There's a review on it somewhere, but it had underneath your feet from the center of each foot through the middle. It was a relatively stiff board, but then it tapers away a lot, the nose and tail, and makes it really, really soft. And that's a board that requires you to sit right in the middle. for a different, like, the Quiver Killer 59 to me and the Doughboy are honing your skills in the same way. It's just the consequences are different. Consequences on a Quiver Killer 59 is that you're gonna fucking blow out the tail, you're gonna land on your ass, or you're gonna fold the nose, you're gonna fucking endo. You're never gonna do either of those things on a Doughboy. You'll never endo on a Doughboy, and you'll never wheelie out on a Doughboy. It's there forever. But if you're gonna sustain muscle strength and you're gonna sustain like endurance and longevity while you're riding, the Doughboy is gonna make you do that. It's gonna, same fucking deal. So as a, does it make sense as a board to have in your quiver? Yeah, I mean, this is what the Doughboy would be ideal for. If you got homies that ride a lot and they have quivers, there are days when you'd want to have a Doughboy day. You know, like, hey, everybody bring their fucking planks. Let's have a big board day. That would be a blast. That would be a blast. But I don't ride the same shit on my daily driver. I wouldn't want to go riding with a bunch of other dudes that were riding snowboards, that knew how to ride snowboards on that thing, because I'd just be beating myself up all day. If I had bigger legs, if I just had more grunt in my legs, I think I'd probably enjoy it a little more. But it's great. It's a great finesse board, even for a skinny dude. Like, I'm not skinny, but you know, like, I don't have stumps for legs, man. But do I think there's a place for me? Yeah, I do. Am I gonna keep it? I'm probably gonna give it back, because I don't know. I mean, I'd keep it, but I don't need to keep it. And so, and I don't know, like, it's like the Retro Ripper. Like, it's a cool board. It's a great graphic, it's great shape, it's super traditional, everything about it. But it's a board for a certain day. And I don't know, man, it's just like this. I got this traditional perspective on snowboards. Like, I want one board to do it all, and I want it to be fun. One board that does it all, that's fun, and that's, to me, for me, is a Bird 67 wide or 62 wide. It ain't this one. So, anyway, turns, just long loopers. Yeah, big old loopers. It's nice for that. It's like a sled. Yeah. You feeling that at all? You getting any of that? It feels really nice. A little heavy on my back leg. I really don't know why. The thing is, about turning, well, it's there for you in the back. You don't want to depend on it too much. It'll wear you out. Stay up in the pocket. And makes it pretty fucking fun. I mean, that fucking thing is pretty fun. This is good snow. Good snow, but yeah, pretty good.